Page 23, the very first question on that page. One thing I forgot to give you here, and I have yet to fix this on the booklet. This line right here is parallel to that line right there. And that makes a world of a difference. Just so you know, maybe make a note. If you ever have a four-sided shape, and you notice that there's two sets of parallel lines, what do we call this shape? Parallelogram. Parallelogram, okay? So that's a parallelogram. And there's something unique about a parallelogram, and it has to do with the angles. We know that these two angles here are exactly the same. And we also know that these angles right there, I'll just go double arc like that, are also the same. So that's kind of a interesting property. So make a note of that. I think this would probably not take up a whole lot of room on your study sheet, and it's probably worth entering it onto your study sheet. A parallelogram, if you see it, it's gold, okay? All right. So let's answer this question here. Where should I start? And this one might be a little tough. The start is the toughest. Once you have the start, you're good to go after that. So I'm going to focus on, where's my highlighter? There it is. I'm going to focus on the fact that these two lines are parallel to each other, and I'm traveling along this transversal right now. If you think about it, there's a bunch of transversals here. What is a transversal? A transversal is a line that crosses through two or more other lines. So technically this is a transversal, right? Technically, this is a transversal because it cuts through here and here. This is a transversal. So pretty much every single line is a transversal you can travel on. Okay? So there's one. Let's focus on this one here as well. That is a transversal. And here's where I will unlock something. Do we have a name for this angle right here? And this angle right there? Do we have a name for those two? I should at least see you whispering it, okay? Corresponding, right? These are corresponding, so they need to be exactly the same. And you're like, what about all the other lines, Mr. Dirksen? It's confusing me, right? I agree, but try to see through that busyness. So I know that if this is 60, I know that this is 60 here as well. So if you have different colors, this unit out of all colors are really important, okay? So we know this is 60 and that's 60. So that's going to allow us to find W, okay? So I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to tackle W. I'm going to start with it. If anything else, at least tell yourself that that's where you're starting. So when you look back, you're like, how did I even get this done, right? I started right here. So W is 60 minus 25, okay? And that gives me 35 degrees. And I used corresponding angles for that one. Corresponding angles are congruent. There we go. That's my explanation. That's my work. So that's why I like these cells. So this would be 35 degrees. And I will use a pencil to now say, right, this stretch right here is 35. So that helped me. If I travel along the pink transversal, now I jump this way, no problem, okay? Now I'm going to travel on that orange one. And what's 35? What's this angle and this angle right there? What's W and Z? Alternate interior. So you might have to, some of you might have to think of it this way, right? These are my parallel lines. alternate interior. So yes, the 35 goes over there because lines are parallel. Okay, so I'm going to go to do this one second. This is 35, and I'm just going to say alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay, so I've got 35 here. And this 25 can travel up here because there's two parallel lines there. So y is 25 degrees, and that's also because of alternate interior angles being congruent. And last but not least, x. Can you try to figure that one out? Okay. How would you solve for x here? Supplementary angles, that's right. So along this one here, you see three angles. You see that hat? Any other way?
Using a straight angle?
Straight angle here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We already have a 7y.
That's right. So both correct. Is there another way? CIAs. These two angles are CIAs, correct? Can we use the fact that they're supposed to add up to 180? Can we use it? The answer is yes, because there's parallel lines, right? These two lines are parallel, so then we know what is in between adds up to 180. So all of you are correct. So if you wanted to use this, right, it's a straight angle here, you can use that. So I will use this reasoning here. I will go 180 minus z minus y. That's 180 minus 35 minus 25. So that's 120 degrees. Okay? And I will use straight angle. But I can also say or CIAs. Okay? I don't want you to necessarily use CIAs too much because I don't want you to like go, it could be that you use this somewhere else, right? It's like, oh yeah, those are CIAs, and they'd be like, what are you talking about? That's kind of like my own like code so that you know we don't always have to say the whole thing, right? But yes, CIA, so these two add up to 180, so it's 120 no matter what. Or you've got a 180 there, and you figure it out that way. Okay? We're good? Thank you. Any other questions? Like, for example, if I threw this one at you, let's go to page 22. This one right here. Could you do that one? This one right here. Where would you start? Where would you start? Which letter would you do first if you had to solve this? I'm going to focus on this, that I've got the set of parallel angles right there. The four angles, right? I call them the four pairs that we have a name for. Please never, could you use 38? Could you say, oh, these are CIAs? There are no two parallel lines, right, that connect. These are not CIAs, so please don't use that. You can't do it that way, okay? What you have to do is focus on one transversal at a time. So for example, if you see a 38-degree angle there, you travel along this one. Let's do a little bit of a Z there. That's kind of like what gives it away. Like a Z shape. Alternate interior, correct? So I can actually solve for this one and say that this is 38. Just like that. So I solve for Y first. 38 degrees. Alternate interior angles are congruent. So sometimes it won't be very obvious until you start, maybe use some colors, okay? So this one is alternate interior to that one. What else can I do now? I see a 32 here. I'm going to try to travel along that transversal and get to another parallel line. So this is 32 here, correct? So W is my second angle that I've solved. And I use the same reasoning. Alternate interior angles are congruent, they're equal. What would you do next? Which one should I do next? Anyone? X, that's right. I see a triangle there, right? So sum of triangles. So let's do that one next. I'm going to use sum of triangle is equal to 180 as my reasoning. And I just go 180 minus 38. I would strongly encourage you to show this work. And I'll tell you why in a bit. What's that? 70. So this is 110. Yeah, there we go. In the event that you get any of the other angles wrong, okay, if you show me the work and you tell me the reasoning, you would still get the mark for this angle even though it's different than what it should be. Lunch. Make sure you come to class. I will. Okay. Anyways, and then Z, this is a straight angle there. So we can just go 180 minus 110. That's 70 degrees. I use the straight angle is equal to 180. Again, if you do your homework and you use other ways of solving and you check my key, don't be discouraged. As long as you get the same answer as me, you're fine. You're most likely fine, okay? So that's just the way it goes. So this is my fourth and last angle, of course, that I solved for. I would say the next one here is also very tricky, in my opinion. This one just below it. I'm going to do my attendance. I want you to try this one and the one on page 23, the very last question on 23. Just give that one a try. If you haven't tried it, I would strongly encourage you to always try the questions that I assign. Okay, it's going to give you a much better understanding of what needs to happen. Kudos to those of you that did this beforehand, I can tell. Okay, that's going to help you. All right, so 22. I'm going to do the bottom one here. Where would I start on that one? There's sometimes only one way to start. Most of the time there's only one way to start. And once you find that starting point, then everything just falls into place. Which one should I start? So you kind of have to find a number and see if you can connect that number with another angle. Yes? W? Yeah, I would agree with you. And the most important thing is to recognize that these two lines are parallel. And then another fact is I'm going to connect that 30 to the W. So that means that you're traveling along this transversal there. And what do we know about these two angles? They are corresponding. Yes, so W is my first angle. I'm going to say that's 30. So corresponding angles are going to be equal to each other. So now you can fit that in there. Okay. Which other one should I find? X? How can I find X?
Isn't it 110 degrees? Because the alternate interior angle?
That's right. Alternate interior angles, right? So, but now I'm traveling along this transversal here, and I realize that this angle and that angle, right, they're alternate interior. They're going to be the same. It's going to be 110, all right? Okay, so I'm going to do x next. Could I have started with x? You could have started with x, okay? Because you didn't need this angle to figure out that one. This one was connected to the 110, I should say. So yes, alternate interior angles are equal to each other, so perfect. I could have started with y, yes. Why is that? Because they're a straight angle. Absolutely. So please don't think that if I start with an angle, yours is wrong. It's not. Why I like this, please tell me where you start at the very least. Because when I mark these, if things are connected, if you make a mistake at the very beginning, sure you'll lose that mark, but then I will follow your train of thought. And you will get the marks that follow, okay? So that's why it's very important to tell me where you started. Yes, you could have started with y as well. So why don't we do that one next? I'm just going to go 180 minus 110. That's 70 degrees. In my case, I used a straight angle, which is equal to 180 degrees. Yes, so this is 70. Make sure you don't forget your degrees. Get the units right. Don't lose marks that are precious, right? It adds up. So 4, how can I find z here? Vertically opposite, perhaps? Which one is this vertically opposite to? It's vertically opposite to this here, right? So as is, I can't really do much with it. So it's okay. I'm going to use a different color to write in there. If this is 110 and that's 30, that already adds up to 140. That means that this is 40 degrees. It doesn't ask you for it, so it's okay to show your work here. And so Z is 40 degrees also. Okay, so I will use that. I will use vertically opposite angles. How else could you have done it? This is 110, correct? So you could have made this 110 as well. And there's a straight angle right there. So you just go 180 minus 30 minus 110, you still get 40. So no matter how you slice it, you'll get there. So if you ever come across scenarios where the angle that you need to find to solve is not at you, I don't ask you for it, just write it in your diagram, and that's part of work. The reason I do this is to make it easier for me to mark your stuff, right? Because if you have it all over the place, it takes me a lot longer to figure out your story, okay? And so this way, it's nice and organized. So it's not like you have to have it in a table, but I find it easier to read that way, okay? All right. Let's go to 23. Let's do this one. Here you've got 3 parallel lines. So if this one is parallel to that one, then it turns out, and this one is parallel to that one, then the first one will be parallel to the third one as well, right? They're just all parallel. Okay. Where should I start? Where would you start? I see this one here. I like colors, so I'm going to add some color to this. I see this angle right here. Okay. Straight angle. So I'm going to start with X here. I'm just going to go 180 minus 135. That's 45 degrees. And I use this straight angle. It's probably the easiest one to start. You don't even need the properties of parallel lines to do that one. Okay? Which other one? W is kind of tricky. W is this one right here. This is W, okay? So don't mix it up. It's this one right here. That's W. You seem so excited for this unit. I know. You probably can't wait to get to the next part, right? I'm gonna try W here. Can I somehow relate? Can I relate this one to this one? This one would be alternate interior, correct? And if you don't see it, it's quite all right to extend this line. Sometimes you just want to extend the lines that are there so you see more, right? So this one and this one are alternate interior. So I'm going to do W next. I'm just going to say it's 135. Alternate interior angles are equal to each other. What are these two angles called? These ones here? CIAs, right? What do these two add up to technically? 180. Guess what? If you go 180 minus 45, you're also going to get 135. So no matter how you do it, you get 135 here. Okay? Question. Pay attention to this one. This is a common mistake. X and Z, do we have a name for them? What would we call this normally? Alternate interior. All right? They are called that. But can I say that if this is 45, then this is 45? Can I say that? Why not? I cannot say that, by the way. It's wrong. Why not? Why can I not say that these are both 45? Mr. Gerson, the diagram. Duh. But what if I said explain? Notice that this line and this line, they're not parallel, like we're not told that they're parallel. So you cannot assume that these are going to be the same. Only if this line and this line had been parallel and you travel along this transversal, then you could have made that conclusion, but it's not. Okay? So don't be making that conclusion. You kind of only want to jump, watch this, I tell students, jump between parallel lines. You can jump on this transversal from here to here to here, but you cannot jump between two lines that are not parallel to each other. You can't bring numbers over, okay? Only between parallel lines can you do that. So 75 and Y, I'll do that one next. They're also alternate interior. Okay. And what else can I do? For Z, I'm actually right now somewhat stuck. I'm trying to think. Are these two something? They're both exterior, but they're not alternate exterior, so no. We got to do a little something here. So I don't know what I did on my key, to be honest. But what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to extend this here. I know that this angle right here is 75. Y is 75. I already determined that. If this is 75, then this is 105. Okay, because it's a straight angle. These two are alternate exterior, correct? If you just consider these two, these are alternate exterior, so this is 105 as well. So I'm actually adding that to my mix here. 105 alternate exterior angles are equal to each other. So I had to do a little bit of extra work there to get that one done. Yes, you could have also found this one here, which is 105 as well, because there's a straight angle, and these two are corresponding. You could have found it that way. Okay, so you got to be creative. You got to use what you can if it seems like you're stuck. So this is my last angle. Okay.